So today what we're going to be doing is making some cupcakes, a batch of cupcakes. But for today I'm going to make a batch of about 48 cupcakes. So for that, what we need is 700 grams of butter. What I would say to you is to bring the butter out beforehand and let it soften to room temperature, especially if you were going to hand mix this. Okay, slightly too much. Okay, that should be it. And to that, we also need 700 grams of caster sugar. I would always advise to sieve it so that you take any of the lumps out. So as you can see, there's a big massive lump of icing sugar, of caster sugar in there, and I would probably use, a spoon just to around. This is so that if you're mixing, but this is especially important if you're going to mix by hand, because what you tend to find is that the lumps make it extra difficult for you to mix. Luckily, what I have got is I've got a cake mixer, so that would definitely help the cause. So as you can see, there's 700 there. So in we go. For such a big batch of cake, I would always recommend a cake mixer because it just makes the job that much more easier for you. So that, and to stop the sugar from sort of flying up, I would suggest you start on a very low mix. Give it a couple of minutes on that very low mix. As you can see, already we started getting the mix there. And once all the sprays have stopped, it would be ideal to put it up to 2.5. Just give it a gentle mix and you can actually take that off now. So because we let the butter soften, what you can see is that straight away there's a nice mix going on. So while we're waiting for that to cool, what I'll suggest is we weigh our our flour and the other ingredients that we need. We now sieved 900 grams of flour, and to that we add 6 level tablespoons of baking powder. Luckily for me, 6 teaspoons of baking powder. Luckily I've got a 2 teaspoon measure, so I'm going to just add 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now you need to crack your eggs. Now we need to crack the eggs, and it is very, very important that you do not get any eggshells at all in the eggs. Some recipes tell you to add them whole. I prefer to beat them, because what happens is you again get a certain texture with the cake. It makes for a much richer tasting cake. Now to the eggs, again, it depends on you, but if you want a vanilla flavoured cake, which is always a lovely cake, but to this mixture you now have to add 4 teaspoons of vanilla essence. And you whisk. So Now we're ready to go on and add our flour, our mixture of eggs and our vanilla essence to the cake mixture. As you can see, it is quite fluffy. So if you get a closer look, it's quite fluffy. Now what else is important, because I've done it in the mix, I'm just going to quickly brush it away from the sides. And then we're ready to carry on. So this bit, it's where it's really crucial, and you need to, it just depends on what kind of cake you're looking to do. So what I tend to do is I tend to add a small portion of flour to a small portion of egg while I'm mixing, just so that it gives a consistent mix. So as you can see, I've got 2 spoons of flour and I've put it on a very low setting. So a little bit of egg, and you just let that mix. Now the thing about making cakes is you have to make it very patiently. And this is going to probably this is probably going to test your patience a lot. Okay? Again, just a little bit of egg to the flour. Make sure it mixes well. If you notice, I'm actually adding it to the side so that I completely miss the so that I can also eradicate the spray that you tend to get with flour. So you keep adding the flour until you've actually finished adding it until you've completed adding it to your mix. Right, so to our mixture we also have to add 6 tablespoons of milk. 6. And again what we need to do is we need to at timely intervals add it to our cake mix. And we carry that on until you've added everything, so the flour, the milk, the eggs, into your cake mix. So what we now do, we've prepared our cake mixture and added everything, so we start to divide it into the cupcake cases. Now you can either buy the muffin cases, which give you a deeper cupcake, or you can buy just the cupcake ones. The cupcake cases are especially good for children's parties, so you get smaller sizes. What you need to do is you need to fill it to halfway of the cupcake case. Now the reason I tend to use a deep spoon or a ladle is simply because it just helps with keeping everything tidy, and it helps with less dripping as well. It's always good to have a spatula handy. And there we go. So the oven should have already been preheated to about 180 degrees, and basically we're ready to go in the oven. Here's a batch I prepared earlier. As you can see, you give it a light brown colour. Now with cupcakes, the cook time is usually about 15 to 20 minutes. But it's also, to test it, what you do is you get a toothpick, a wooden one, and you carefully dip it into the middle. If it comes out dry, your cupcake is ready. And that's a good test for any size cake. So you can also transfer that technique into making bigger cakes as well.